My wife, a 34-year-old female, went to a stranger's house after drinking, and now I have two completely different accounts of what happened during the night, plus an update. So my wife and her buddy went out drinking on Friday night, and she didn't get home until 4 a.m., which concerned me to death. When she eventually arrived home, she was quite inebriated and was virtually being pulled by her companion. The buddy had a sorry expression on her face and urged me to be patient while she told me her story. Of course, I was concerned about what happened. The buddy departed, stating that it would be better if my wife informed me. My wife had clearly left by this time, so I fell asleep as well. My wife wakes me up at 11 a.m. weeping and says she has made a terrible mistake and she is extremely sorry. She was distraught at this point, and I tried to calm her down. She eventually informed me that she had been so intoxicated last night that she ended up with a stranger. As you can expect, I was astonished, so I probed for more information, and she told me that they had met two men while drinking and were buying them rounds. She claimed she turned down the drinks at first, but when one of her friends indicated interest in one of them, they went to chat and took drinks from him. My wife was tasked with keeping the man's companion occupied while her pal chatted to the guy. After some time and a lot of drinks, they went to the guy's house, and she ended up with him there. My wife claims she went there just to ensure the safety of her buddy and had no ulterior purpose. She did acknowledge some innocent flirtation with the man, but she said it had no significance to her. She was determined about not having sex with the guy. Then I remarked, "Perhaps you were pushed, and we should attempt to figure out who the man was first." I pushed for further information, but she stated she couldn't recall. So I went to the bar in the evening and inquired around, and happily, the man my wife's buddy hooked up with was there as well. When I spoke with him, he painted a very different image of the night. He said that he and his buddy were quite explicit with both my wife and her friend from the start that they were wanting to hook up, and neither my wife nor her friend objected. He also said that my wife was well aware of what was about to occur once they returned to the home. I didn't get to meet the second man who hooked up with my wife, but I did chat with him on the phone, and he claimed the same thing. Both ladies knew what was going on and still went to his place. I became furious with him, but he argued that he didn't push anybody, that he was as intoxicated as she was, and that it was absolutely mutual from the minute they began chatting in the bar. He suggested I could look at the videotape to see how my wife and her companion were behaving that night. I attempted, but they refused to provide me the video without a police record. I'm at a loss for words here. My wife claims that's not the case, but she did confess to flirting with him, and those people insist it was reciprocal. My wife refuses to pursue a lawsuit against them, and I'm at a loss. Only one thing is certain: my wife prioritized her friend's life above our marital life. Otherwise, why would she go to a stranger's home after midnight? That is evident to me, even if the rest is a mystery. Any suggestions on how to proceed? Update: I just wanted to give you a quick update before I board my trip. After I posted my post, I realized I was just too stressed to be near my wife. Her very existence was exacerbating my stress, so I've chosen to return home and spend New Year's Eve with my folks, aka people who won't stab me in the back. My wife was distressed and weeping uncontrollably, but my main concern was making it to the airport on time. She has been requesting that we go to couples counseling, that she would quit drinking, that she will stop hanging out with her single friends, and so on, but I told her I didn't care. You're allowed to heaven while I'm gone. I simply want some peace and quiet, so I'm heading to my safe haven. My house used to be my safe haven, and my wife was my rock, but that reality has now been broken. Anyway, she chose to travel to her parents' place, so she dropped me off at the airport and begged me to take her with me, but I need some alone time or my head will explode. And I'm not sure whether I'll see her again, whether via divorce or reconciliation, I'm not sure. So thank you everyone who replied, and maybe I'll provide an update after I've made a choice. I simply need your best wishes right now. Please update too. I am presently at home, I'm enjoying my mother's cooking, and have reunited with a few old pals who have returned home for the holidays. We went boating at one of our local lakes, which was fantastic. Being in the company of someone you believe will not harm you is quite beneficial. My wife, on the other hand, has yet to hear from me other than to inform her that I have returned home safely and will call her whenever I choose. My mother has spoken to her a few times, but they are unaware of anything. I've informed them that we're simply experiencing some difficulties. My parents have been married for 28 years and know better than to meddle in my marriage. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. I haven't decided whether I want to remain married or not. Right now, all I want to do is enjoy the Christmas holiday with my family, and then I'll make a decision depending on how I'm feeling at the time. Thank you very much for your help story too. My wife seems jealous of her son's wife. My wife and I are a 52-year-old man and a 48-year-old woman, respectively. This is my second marriage, and my wife was a single mother for many years. She has 2 children, a 27-year-old son and a 21-year-old daughter who lives with us, and a 19-year-old daughter who does not. Her son is married and has a daughter who lives with him and his wife in a nearby apartment complex. Recently, I've noticed that my wife seems to be jealous of her son's wife. Although she has a strong bond with her children, I think her behavior is excessive. There have been minor and major red flags recently. For example, when we rented a huge cabin with our daughter and her boyfriend, her son and his wife, and their child, they left their daughter with us on 2 separate occasions and went out on their own. My wife said yes when they asked her if we could babysit their child while they were out, but when they returned to the cabin, the wife became enraged. Another incident happened 2 weeks ago when her son was diagnosed with cancer. When we and her daughter arrived at the hospital, his wife was already there waiting for us. While her daughter was using the restroom, her son came back to tell us that he was fatigued and wanted to rest. His wife asked if we could take care of their preschool-aged child and keep her for dinner, to which we agreed. A few minutes later, our daughter came upon us and alerted us that she had heard her brother sobbing inside the room. My wife immediately sprang to her feet and insisted on going inside his room to help him. I tried to stop her, but she persisted. When she came out, she was agitated and complained about how her husband just wanted his wife's comfort and that she was his mother. I've also noticed that my wife's demeanor sometimes gives me the impression that she is jealous of her daughter-in-law. Although she has only mentioned her son and his wife to me a few times in passing over the years, I feel like we have come to an impasse, and I don't know what to say or do. It's important to keep in mind that these are merely 2 of the most notable examples, and that my wife's behavior towards her son and his wife has been a recurring issue. My advice and opinion, as a family therapist, my advice would depend on several factors such as the couple's history, the circumstances surrounding the infidelity, and the couple's willingness to work on their relationship. If both partners are committed to repairing the relationship, then couples therapy may be a good option. Infidelity can be a symptom of deeper issues within the relationship, such as communication breakdown, emotional disconnection, or unmet needs. A therapist can help the couple identify these underlying issues and work together to rebuild trust and intimacy. However, if one partner is not willing to work on the relationship, or if there is a pattern of infidelity, then divorce may be the best option. Infidelity can be extremely damaging to a relationship, and in some cases, it may be difficult or impossible to rebuild trust. Ultimately, the decision to stay or leave after infidelity is a personal one that should be made with careful consideration and professional support. A therapist can provide a safe and non-judgmental space for couples to explore their options and make a decision that is best for them.